The holidays can be one of the loneliest times of the year. And if you're grieving, you're not imagining it. It's actually really, really harder. So today we're going to dive in and talk about what grief really is like and feels like in December and how to let your emotions exist without apologizing for them.
Do you want to know everything? What your heart won't say, but your soul can sing. From love to loss and the space between, she's got the light to lift the unseen. Hope, healing, and transformation. Do you want to know everything? Do you want to know everything?
Welcome to Hope, Healing, and Transformation. My name's Lisa Williams, and I am so glad that you are here because this time of the year can really be tough. You know, we have twinkle lights, we have laughter from the outside, but for many people, there's also that inner part of us that has quiet sadness. We get this exhaustion. We have these moments of deep remembering. And it doesn't matter who you are, it happens for all of us. And today we're actually going to honor that part in us. So the world doesn't stop. Let's just talk about this. The world just doesn't stop. And I'm just going to talk from my point of view. I remember when my husband went to Afghanistan and he left in November. And I cannot tell you how many people said to me, he'll be home for the holidays, won't he? Or he's coming home for Christmas, or he'll be home in the new year. And my answer was, no, it's not going to stop. And it was really frustrating because what we don't understand, and it was frustrating in my part, but what I didn't realize is that some people don't have a concept of what's actually happening. Now, if you're grieving, or if you've had somebody who has passed away this year, or you have had a job loss, or you've had a relationship breakdown, or you're not talking to somebody who is a really integral part of your life. Look at me having my throat chakra sort of like close up at that particular time. You know, people don't understand it because we can actually put on that fake smile as much as we want, but no one really understands that pain that we're going through, the pressure to smile, you know, to maybe host a party or to even wrap gifts. It can actually feel like it's too much, especially when you're going through something. Now, your grief may not just be this year. Your grief may have been 5 years ago. And this time of the year brings up a lot of other memories. It doesn't matter when that loss was. The holidays have this amazing, wonderful way of opening up that wound. It's like that wound that has scabbed over and suddenly we're picking at it and it starts to bleed again. Really awful analogy, Lisa, but it's the truth. So even if everyone around you seems fine, you know, and you look fine, it doesn't mean that your grief isn't coming at its own pace. It doesn't mean that it isn't sort of like going, boo, here it is, because that's the reality. It does happen. You're not doing anything wrong. You're human. Let's just face it. We're all human. And that's the reality of it. And I'm going to be honest. Even if you need to hear this, and maybe you don't need to hear this, I'm going to give you permission. It's okay not to be okay around this time of the year. Period. Just going to say it as simple as that. Because it brings up a lot. And I don't care who you are. It brings up old memories. In fact, I was talking about it yesterday with a friend of mine. We were talking about how Christmas is one of her favorite times. And, you know, it was very, very hard for her. She lost her wife just before Christmas. And we were talking about how celebrating and everything else. And she said, what is it about? Why don't you like Christmas? And then suddenly I had to sit and think about it and go, why don't I enjoy the holidays? And I realized the magic had gone. The magic had gone from Charlie being a child, for me not having my family around, for a variety of different other things that had happened. And not only that is my husband doesn't like Christmas either. And so in my mind, I'm like, maybe I've conformed, but there's a lot of things here that happen. And so, I think for everybody, we have to understand, what is it about the holidays that do it to us? You may not just be grieving. Sometimes it's the fact that we're just going through stuff, or it's been a bit of a shitty year. And what it does is it brings up all of this stuff. Maybe we haven't continued with that New Year's resolution. God, I keep making that New Year's resolution every single day. I'm going to work out. I'm going to work out. I'm going to work. And then I work out. And then I don't work out again. We all have these moments that hit us, and we start feeling heavy on ourselves. We start blaming ourselves for random things. But when we're grieving, sometimes it becomes a little bit more intense. And honestly, we are trying to go through that grieving process and trying to get that connection to spirit. Maybe you've been wanting that connection a little bit more. And actually, this is a time I'm going to say to you, ask for the connection. Just ask for the connection that you can. There is, I talk about this book all the time. There is a great book by Dr. Tara Swart called Signs. New York bestseller, just started. It got released this year. She's the reason why I went into the neuroscience as deeply as I did. Way back in like 6-7 years ago. So she is the reason why. She wrote a great book called The Source, and then this next book, Signs, is incredible. But she talks about the signs becoming closer and clearer. And maybe when you are with them, it's asking for a sign. It's asking for that sign to come along. So maybe you've noticed that scent that reminds you of someone, or a song that shows up at, I don't know, the right time, or it starts playing in the store. It's not your imagination. It's actually real. They're trying to find a way to reach you. This is your own way of honoring them. You don't need to wait for that sign or that special moment. You can light a candle. You can speak their name. You can make their favorite dish. These are the things that all count. Now, yesterday, I was like, I'm going to try something. And on an earlier podcast, we had Sheryl Lindbergh, who is a brainspotting expert. And I have been studying brainspotting now for quite some time, and I'm actually going through the certification. And I practiced this with a friend, with my same friend who lost her wife just before Christmas 3 years ago. And we sat, and I'm looking at this exact spot where it was, and I started to work with her on this brain spot. And I said, you are going to find that she's going to come through to you. Sharon's going to come through to you. And it's going to be in your way. You might have a memory. You might hear something vividly. You might ask questions, whatever it is. But we're going to find your spot. And this is someone who normally gets into her head and, always watches my podcast. But she often gets into her head. And I just said, you've got to trust me. And when we found her spot, I said, just bring that Sharon. And she's like, oh, and for 20 minutes, she held that connection with her wife, which was so powerful. And what it was is she came in her way. So I want you to know that when we are working with spirit, they're going to come in their way. Not exactly how we want it to be. So, we can say, I want a sign that's going to come in on such and such. And you're going to say, it's going to, I don't know, it's going to look like this, or the sign's going to be this. You can say that, but it's not always going to be the case. Okay. But I want you to find your own way in honoring them. Okay. It doesn't matter how it is. And it's about speaking to them. I also want you to know that when a random thought pops into your head of a memory of a moment, or you think of them, or you feel their name, or whatever it is. Okay. It's not the fact that it's a coincidence. No, it's actually them coming through. I think it's really important that you recognize that. I digressed a little bit. However, let's come back to this moment. Everybody through the holidays it can be a tough time. I've lost people around this period of time, and I'm going to tell you, it's messy. It's not crying messy. You know, you might want to laugh with your friends, and then you might want to get in the car, and then you might want to bawl your eyes out. And it's really honoring them. It's not you being pathetic or weak or crazy. It's the fact that you're remembering love and you're working your way through this whole space. So what we have to realize is that this is a place that we need to be. And there's something simple that you can try, and it's really easy. It's really, really simple. And it's very similar to what we did with my friend, is making time to sit with the person that you love. And it can just be 10 minutes this week, could be a day, could be anything. And I want you to sit somewhere quiet, okay? And this is something that I recommend everybody do, especially if they're really grieving. Is sit somewhere quiet and write a letter. Write a letter to the person that you miss and say everything that you want. You know, just write. Just write. And then if you want to, you can tuck it away and you can put it somewhere private. You don't have to share it. It's just between you and them. And it's a beautiful way of just honoring them. And in fact, I actually say to people who are in the first parts of grief, write a letter every single day. Tell them everything that you would normally. If you call your mom every single day and you talk about your day, then replace that call with a letter. Just say, hey, Mom, this is what's going on. I want to tell you about how, Ben did this today and how Charlotte did this and that. And whoever it is you want to tell them about, just write it down. Because the thing is it's still keeping that connection alive. And I want you to realize is that just because the spirits aren't physically in our world with us doesn't mean they're not hearing us, doesn't it mean they're not feeling us and seeing us and being with us. The amount of times people ask me to give their loved ones a message is unbelievable. They'll say, can you tell them this? And I'll listen. And I said, well, you just told them. And they look at me like I'm crazy or I'm gone out or in shock. And I'm like, no, you just told them. Because really, having that time, writing it out, sharing it with them, you're having moments. Now, the hardest part is not having them there. And I recognize that. It feels like sometimes a one-way conversation. And that's the hard thing. But if you can't write it, just have that moment with them and just say their name. Sometimes that's enough. But in that place, I would really encourage you to have a moment, have that time of just being with them. So for me, let's talk about that one-way conversation, because that one-way conversation is sometimes really, really hard. That one-way conversation becomes a little tough. And so it's about taking our senses into another level. So I'm going to help you with this. So we have 4 major senses, okay, that we work with, which is our sight, our hearing, our feeling, and our knowing. We can have the taste and the smell, obviously, but the taste and the smell, you might smell them, you might taste smoke, or you might taste chocolate and what might be their favorite thing. That's great. But the heightened senses, the first one is our knowing. That's number one. It's that feeling where you feel that they're here, or there's that light sensation. It's when the energy shifts or the air shifts around you. And in that shifting of the air that shifts, what we're doing is we're feeling into it. It's so subtle. It's crazy. It's like knowing the difference between I don't know, flavoring on drinks where this one has a little bit more flavor, or holding 2 crystals and which one's got the biggest energy, or which one should you make it? It's decide. I'm not probably explaining it right, but it's really hard to decipher the energy sometimes. But sometimes you might feel the shift, or sometimes you might feel the energy in the room, as in the temperature in the room. You might find that it might go hot, it might go cold, it might look. Now my nose is running. Now we all know that spirit's coming in. But you might notice how it starts to shift. These are the things that I want you to look for. It might be that moment where you're like, am I feeling them? When you have to question that spirit is there, I'm going to say to you, know that spirit's there, because spirit is actually always around you. They're not going to be watching you do random things like taking a shower and whatever, but they are going to be with you when you need it the most. One of the best times I love is talking to them when I'm in the car. Having that conversation. It's a very, very intimate space. It's a quiet space. It's a private space. Sometimes you're listening to music. If you're anything like me, I like to have silence when I'm driving. So as I'm driving, random things will just pop in and pop in and pop in. And I'm like, oh, okay, thank you, thank you, thank you. And I start saying thank you to the people that start coming in. So I want you to understand that there are many ways that you can actually communicate with your loved ones. There are many ways that you can connect with them. So maybe you might want to actually start honoring your loved ones. If you don't feel in the holiday spirit, okay, you don't want to be doing the celebrations, you don't want to be putting certain decorations up, or you don't want to be, listen, people laugh at us here. I mean, we are there. We live in a neighborhood, and we're a very, very big community neighborhood. And the neighbors laugh at us. They're like, "You're the one with the dark house." I'm like, "Yeah, we've got a dark house." We don't put decorations up. So if you don't want to put that up, it's okay. But if you feel like you want to, but it's sometimes a little bit hard, maybe you have a moment sitting with your loved ones, sitting with those people that really enjoyed it, and saying, okay, what would I do? Bring out their special ornaments, their special decorations, their special whatever it is, and honor it for them. Maybe making their favorite meal. I have a lot of people who they are, in fact, I've got a friend of mine, and she always makes a certain meal of her mum's over the holidays. It's actually over Hanukkah, and she makes a certain meal over Hanukkah because that's how her mum made it. She didn't feel like celebrating Hanukkah because her mum had passed away, but she pushed herself to do it. So I think one of the things that we have to do is we have to honor where we're at, but there's also that part of us that we also have to honor the memories. We have to honor the fun times. One of my favorite moments, if I think about, was going back when I was back in the UK, and my grandparents were still alive. And at 10 o'clock, my nan and my granddad would turn up, and we would all go down the pub. At sort of like 12 o'clock, we would all go down the pub, and it would be me, my brother, my granddad, my dad, my brother's wife, and whoever I was with. That sounds very ominous, doesn't it? But we would go to the pub, and then we would come back, and then dinner, and then and lunch. It would just be very, very, it was just such a beautiful time of the year. And I think it's about making new traditions. One of the things that I actually said to my daughter when she came to live with us, I said, this is about making, she said, our tradition is. And I said, yeah, and that involved your mom, and your mom isn't here. And that was one of the hardest things. And, I said, let's make a new tradition. Let's honor the tradition that you have, and let's make a new tradition. And she said, well, I used to really love how my mum made this. Listen, I don't cook. I can, but I don't. And so we honored her mum, and then we created a brand new tradition. And I think it's really important to honor where you're at. Make new traditions. There was a point where the kids decided that they were going to start doing something else for Christmas now. So we've started to do Christmas Eve. And that Christmas Eve is more honoring of them. That's what they want, because then they go to their respective partners on Christmas Day. And Chris and I can go and ski, or we can go and do something different. I think it's really about understanding where you're at. And it's about giving yourself permission to have these moments. It's about having, and one of the things that I will say to you, try not to get locked up in your own space. Try to be with people. Community helps, even if it's just for a moment, even if it's just for a time, even if it's just for that short space in time. Community really, really helps. They're going to get you out of that very dark space that you can get into. And so I want you to understand that there are people around. Neighbors, be with neighbors, be with friends, pick up the phone, have FaceTime conversations. Those are the times that you need the people the most. So it's just my way of saying this. I honor the fact that this is a difficult time of the year, and something that people dread, something that people really, really dread. But truly, if you step in and you find community, that will help you. And if you find community who are also in the same place that you're in, then there's this common thread, there's this common understanding of knowing where you're all at. So I hope that actually helps you. I'm just spouting out off a load of ideas and information for you, because the thing is it's just not always around the holidays, even though we are in the holiday season. You may find this July sometime next year. And if you find it in July sometime next year, it might speak to you then, because you might be going through another celebration that might be really hard, or a birthday. This isn't just primarily for the holidays, although it's more heightened. It's for all year round. So I hope that helps. If you need community, there's always community around. We've recently launched a site, a membership group called Prisma. Karen, my friend Karen Raymond and I, we have created Prisma, and this is really about helping yourself in intuition, in decision making, in being more aligned with who you are as an individual. And this might be something that you're struggling with as well, because when you're in that grieving space, you have a lot of things. So if you feel called to it, go and check out prismora.com. I've also got a lot of courses that are starting next year, which is only next month. That's crazy. That can help you through this. I want you to know that this is an opportunity for you to open yourself up. Find healing, find community, find this healing circle. And you got to remember that even though we miss certain individuals, we also need to hold on with our friends, our people, hold on to each other throughout it. You don't have to always carry it alone, because when we're carrying it alone, it becomes bigger. So I want you to remember that people are around you. Spend time with people, with people who honor you, who know where you're at. Be gentle with yourself. Allow yourself to feel what you want to feel. And remember that this is an opportunity for you to grow. It's never an opportunity for you to fail, because you're not failing. A great friend of mine says, you have survived 100% of your bad days. And I love that. So just remember, you've survived 100% of your bad days. And now, if today is one of those days, you're going to survive that too. Before we go, I just want to share something with you. There is somebody who's very dear in my life, and that is Ray Bruni, who is the actual producer of the show, who wrote the themes tune to my podcast. And he created a song called A Very Merry Melancholy Mood. It's a lot when you say it together. But this piece of music may mean something to you. When I listened to it, it brought tears to my eyes. And I think what it does is it may give you permission to be exactly where you need to be.
It's a Christmas Eve of holly jolly woe. There are choo-choo trains, candy canes, tinsel branches, and avalanches of snow. I'm so blessed to be beside those I love most. Though this Yuletide leaves me transparent as a ghost, I take my meds and say my prayers every day. But this winter inside just won't melt away. I'm in a very merry, melancholy mood, a fireside glow on my face, but my heart is blued. I take it on the chin, but just beneath my skin, no good tidings emerge from within. I beg you not to think of me as rude, it's just a very merry, extraordinary, melancholy mood. A Christmas night with stockings overflowing. There are dolls and toys, girls and boys, elation, anticipation, ho, ho, hoing. I'm so thankful for friends, the people I hold dear. But whatever second brings me won't erase this tear. Putting on a happy face won't set me free, 'cause sadness is carved in the fabric of me. I'm in a very merry, melancholy mood where the smiles surround me, but the joy is subdued. No chestnuts roasting and no New Year's toasting, just shadows my heart insists on hosting. No bells on bobtails, you must conclude it's just a very mad, solitary, melancholy mood. Tell me you are here for me. Tell me you're not blaming me. Tell me it's okay to feel this way. I'm in a very merry, melancholy mood. Don't confuse my indifference with ingratitude. Before this night is through, let me wish to you Merry Christmas and Happy New Year too. Please don't think I just prefer to brood. It's just a very merry, quite contrary, melancholy mood.
Do you feel a whisper in the back of your mind, like the truth is waiting, but it's hard to find? Well, maybe there's magic in the words she brings. Close your eyes and listen in. Do you want to know everything? What your heart won't say, but your soul can sing. From love to loss and the space between, she's got the light to lift the unseen. Hope, healing, and transformation. Do you want to know everything? Do you want to know everything?
Thank you so much for joining me today. And remember, the information shared on this podcast is meant to inspire and support you, but it's not a replacement for personalized advice from a qualified professional. If you enjoyed this episode, please share it with someone who might benefit. And don't forget to tune in next time. Until then, take care and keep believing in something better.